All right. Now, let's take this with a grain of salt. Big old shaker, right? But in hindsight, we actually have seen quite a lot of leaks that have actually come to fruition, which is kind of scary. Right? It's kind of scary. Now we're going to do the roster last because I want to read this to you first because this is interesting. It was a thought that I had, which is it's just interesting, right? Because like when you look at the quality of the Crypt and MK11, this is probably one of the few highlights of that trash game. The Crypt is actually very well done. The movement's done and everything like that. And I said a little bit ago that it'd be awesome if they turned that into open world, created Conquest 2.0, and then, you know, you might have like the Crypt itself out there that you can find and stuff. So let's get into the Salt Shaker. So Conquest mode has been overhauled. Explore Earthrealm, Outworld, and Edenia as a Shaolin monk. So this is the time travel stuff. 100%. Right, so I've covered this before where it talked about how you'd have half the story in the past, half the story in the present or the future. Well, this explains that. You cannot have Edenia and Outworld at the same time period. Right? You can't. Edenia is before it became Outworld. As a Shaolin monk on a quest given to him by Fire God Liu Kang that leads into the main story mode. During the quest, you'll find iconic and familiar faces from all MK's history and have to prove yourself in combat. Beating these warriors will unlock them as cameos. Completing side quests reward the player with in-game currency to spend in the in-game store. Dragon Towers are an ever-changing rotation of challenging towers with different objectives, challenges and attributes per tower that reward players with new cosmetics for playable combatants. This is a red flag. Just so we're clear. Last part, the Crypt returns, set in a forgotten graveyard hidden deep within the depths of the living forest in Outworld. So, that's fine. Again, this is a red flag going into the whole Kameo mumbo jumbo, right? So when we look at this apparent leaked roster, okay, we got, and some of them overlap, okay, so this is apparently the roster, playable roster, right? And then we have, so we got like Reptiles back, obviously Havoc and Reiko, great, that's awesome. Natara, hopefully they'll do a decent job with her. Again, take this all with a grain of salt. And there's obviously like crossovers here because Scorpion, Subbies, Raiden, you know, the Great Kung Lao is apparently as part of Kameo, Smoke. So this is like, now I've been trying to rack my brain. Like this is how you get every character in MK game with minimal effing effort. So let's be negative first, right? Because I know it annoys you guys, but do you want to have an awesome MK game? Or do you want to play an MK game where you're just sitting there going, man, why couldn't you just go the extra step? I mean, they reckon that they spent 4 years on this game. Are you telling me that they couldn't make every character playable? They've done it before. It's not like they've had it it's not like since Armageddon, they've added like double the size roster to the game to then, you know, render and create. They haven't. Okay? But this is why, like, so negatively, this is why I think the Kameo system's bad. Because you're going to have a model character that is only going to be rendered and animated to special moves or combos or whatever they do, you know, jump in, jump out type of gameplay. That's the negative aspect I can take on it. So that way they get you know, Boone and the team can sit there and go, we've got every MK character ever in the game. Which isn't a lie. Right? You know, sleight of hand. It isn't a lie. But then you have some characters, right, like Ashra's in there, right? So then you got some characters in there that, like Serena, is Serena in main? No. That you might want as a main character. Now, I've been racking my brains. Okay? Regardless of whether this list is true or not, I'll leave that bottom part there for you guys to check out. It's obviously the Kombat pack as well. Which is really strange. When you look at Johnny Cage, he's listed as a cameo character. He's listed also as a main character here. Now, this is what I'm hoping. This is what I'm hoping. Positively. Right? That eventually, every character that is not first choice, as in first playable character, will eventually, so a cameo character that is not first choice, will eventually become playable. Right? Because if they don't, this is going to piss off everyone. I'm sorry, and I don't give a shit. I am not an MK fan that sits there and just accepts everything with the dragon logo on the box. Okay? It's like, you know, it's like NetherRealm go, what do you want? We'd like every MK character, please. I'll tell you what, the best we can do is half of them. We've had 3 games with ever-increasing rosters up to this point, right? MK9, MK10, MK11. We are actually beyond technically having like an Armageddon 2.0 now. So, I would, like, this is what I mean, like Ermac, like, okay, so obviously mainstay character, that's great. But you're gonna, like, seriously, like shit like this is gonna be really bad. Is Rain in main? Rain's in main. Oh no, Smoke's in main too. Okay, alright, okay. There's a lot of names on the screen. Give me a break. Alright? So, okay, alright, okay, so Smoke's listed there as main, okay, and so is Rain and Reptile. Right? So here's what I'm thinking. Oh no, it doesn't make sense too, because I was just going to say, well, only 3D characters are going to end up being cameos. But then they've got 3D characters in here. And back further. Right? See what I'm doing? Right? Is there any Kentaro? Yep. Now, let's add it up. Let's add it up. We got 1, 2, 3. No, wait, because I'm gonna be doubling up, right? I'm sure there's characters that they're missing, but the cameo system, like this, like I'm trying to be generous here. Like I said, negatively, you know, we're gonna have like, you know, we're gonna have like cameo characters literally locked. Like it's going to be a lot more visual than what they did in MK11, you know, assists, you know, because they're going to render the character that's going to jump out or do a move or do something, and that's going to make it so much worse. Like the insult to that is just going to be like 1,000 times worse, because you're going to see your favorite character on screen for a few seconds. That's like getting 2 tugs and nicked off again. Like, what are you doing? Follow through. Generously, hopefully, right, that over time, the cameo characters will be made fully playable, right? Because there is obviously overlap. We know that already simply with just the Johnny Cage announcement. We know that Johnny Cage, you know, showing up either in Cameo in the DLC, like Cameo for Kombat pack, and then, you know, whatever, right? So this could be now this is the devious part, right? If they end up making every cameo character that is not first choice playable then playable, what they're gonna do is they're gonna tie it into combat packs, man, right? This you gotta pay for. So Johnny Cage, like, and we're just going by Cage here, right? Johnny Cage is playable base roster, but you cannot choose Cage as a cameo character. Now, if that's true, right? If that's true, then what that means is that they will make it so that you will have you'll have characters, right? Either first choice or cameo choice that are not either or at launch and not part of this combat pack will be made either or, right? First choice or cameo as part of a bought and paid for DLC combat pack. Bookmark this video. I'd almost guarantee it, because they're gonna know that people are not gonna be happy having characters that they love stuck to the side, appearing just like a flasher in a park. All right, they run out, you know, and then piss off again. They know people aren't going to be happy with that. So what are they going to do? So they launch the main game. You got all these characters. Look at all the characters you get. Look at it. Everyone's like busy, you know, doing Conquest. And oh my god, look, give me a character. They're doing them right. They're going to be sitting in NetherRealm, monetizing the shit out of the characters that are not playable on the main, like on the first choice. So then they're going to bring out more combat packs that they grease the wheels, right? I don't know why I'm doing that. Grease the wheels and going, yeah, you know that female chameleon character that's only a cameo? Well, in Combat Pack 2, if you buy Combat Pack 2, she will now become playable as part of the roster. Now, just to finalize the video, I mean, this is some noodle baking we're going on right here, right? Actually, it will happen. On PC, we're going to have some fun, boys and girls, because there's going to be some really smart mofos out there. Some I can't say, because they might get in trouble, right? But I have to thank one of them greatly for alleviating my stress with MK11. They're going to be getting into the code, right? And this is going to be huge. If this is what happens, that these characters are actually like if they're already in the code as a cameo, but you can't play them as playable, and this is the worst part, they have their full moveset, but they're locked, and you have to pay through a combat pack to unlock the rest of the Man, I hate this. They're gonna make you pay to unlock a cameo character's full potential. Aren't they? That's what they're going to do. Because once this game launches, what they're going to do is they're going to work on the characters that aren't playable. Like, so they're going to make the cameo characters playable, right? And maybe some of them aren't finished. Maybe some of them don't have everything. But that's what they're going to dedicate their time to. Because they're going to make it so that, you know, it's more, you know, obviously more money in purchasing. But they're going to take, like, Chameleon, female Chameleon with the K, and they're going to be like, yeah, Combat Pack 2 or 3, she's going to be fully playable in the main roster. And then PC people are going to get into the code and realize that, no, she's actually got all her moves, all her combos, all her finishing moves, right? They're just locking it away behind a DLC price point. Mark this video, boys and girls, because I got a feeling that that's what they're gonna do. That's why we have overlap. The characters are overlapping between cameos and main, right? Like, and that's obviously gonna happen. Like, whether we, Cage is the example. It's the perfect example. The leak has got to be true. Cage being a cameo, right? It means that if you don't have Combat Pack 1, which I think is coming with the DLC, or like the first purchase, like Ultimate, I think, you can't choose him as a cameo. So they're going to monetize the reverse. See you later.